Today we're asking the question, what do fussy babies and ADHD kids have in common? We're hearing from parents that their pediatrician told them that their baby will just grow out of colic. But here's what they're not telling you. They don't just grow out of colic, they grow into other challenges. The endless crying, the back arching, the sleepless nights, these aren't just phases that magically disappear. They're indicators and signs from your baby's nervous system that something deeper is happening. Another thing we see in our office every week is when parents come in with a 7-year-old who's struggling with sensory issues, ADHD or anxiety. And when we dig into their history, there it is. They were colicky babies growing up. The same stress that caused colic at 3 months old is now causing meltdowns at 7 years old. The labels changed, but the problem never left. So this video we're doing today is for parents who are exhausted from trying everything, eliminating dairy, keeping food journals, trying every colic drop on the market, and still watching their baby suffer. You're not failing. You just might be missing the most important piece of the puzzle. In the next few minutes, some of the points we're diving into are why birth interventions create nearly all colic cases, how the vagus nerve controls everything from digestion to development, why babies arch their back, and here's a hint, it's not just gas, and the exact progression we're going to go into from colic to chronic childhood challenges. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how to finally help your baby heal at the source. But first, let me tell you about Lennon's story. Before chiropractic care, he was the definition of a colicky baby. Reflux, couldn't sleep, constantly irritable, stiff, and arching. He would cry nonstop in any car ride. His mom felt completely overwhelmed and helpless. But here's what makes Lennon's case even more revealing. He also had a kidney condition that doctors were monitoring for surgery. But after addressing the nervous system stress, not only did his colic disappear, but his kidneys started healing on their own. His mom now says everyone comments how he's so happy and seems like I got lucky with an easy baby. I always tell people they should have seen him completely, like before chiropractic care, because he's a completely different baby. Even his doctors were shocked when his kidneys improved without the need for intervention. And so now I want to dive into the real root cause that goes deeper because most people think that colic is just a digestive issue. It's gas, it's indigestion, food sensitivities. That's accurate, but incomplete. The digestive system is completely under the control of the nervous system. Think of the nervous system as your baby's air traffic controller. It coordinates every function in the body. When that controller gets stressed, everything starts backing up. The vagus nerve is the master nerve that travels from the brainstem all the way down through the neck, controlling the esophagus, the stomach, and the intestines. And so when things like birth trauma and interventions stress this nerve, digestion literally gets stuck. That's why we need to change the word colic to what it really is, stuck. Your baby gets stuck in stress. When they get stuck in the birth canal, stress gets stuck on their nervous system, digestion gets stuck, and then your baby stays stuck in a state of distress. They stay stuck in protection mode, that fight or flight mode that means normal growth and development can't happen because their system is stuck in stress mode. Even before birth, stress starts building. The umbilical cord that acts like a power cord, transferring mom's stress directly to baby's developing nervous system. If mom felt anxious or stressed during pregnancy, baby's nervous system was already on high alert. And then that leads to the hidden trigger that no one discusses, birth interventions and trauma. In our practice, we've noticed that nearly 100% of colicky babies have experienced birth interventions like C-section, forceps, vacuum extraction, or inductions. And these interventions can easily create physical stress on the upper neck where the vagus nerve originates. The physical tension from birth gets stuck specifically in two places, the upper neck area and the mid-back. And that's why colicky babies arch their backs and stiffen their necks. They're literally trying to stretch out the tension, just like you do after a day, like sitting at a desk all day. They're trying to let go of that stress. Your baby is signaling through their body language that the problem isn't their stomach, it's in their spine and nervous system. And this is where I want to introduce something called the perfect storm and its timeline that parents need to know about. The perfect storm, simply put, is stress, early and often, maternal stress, interventions from birth, overuse of antibiotics or other medications. It doesn't necessarily matter what kind of stress it is. What matters is how the nervous system responds, how it stays stressed out, which leaves it vulnerable to other stress and can influence overall growth and development. Now, here's the progression we see over and over. With colic from ages 0 to 6 months, a baby is stuck in a state of stress, and then everything gets stuck. We call them poor plumbers or poor drainers, right? Their immune system starts to get stuck, and we see chronic ear infections start to show up in that 6 to 18-month window. They're constipated and aren't getting rid of the toxins, so they start to grow into things like speech delays and developmental delays around a year and a half to age 3. And then we start to see sensory processing issues in the following years. And then when they get into grade school and their nervous system is totally overwhelmed and overstimulated and not processing correctly, and that's where we see things like ADHD and anxiety coming online as well. So going back to the beginning of this whole story of the perfect storm, the colic didn't go away. It transformed. Each stage involves the same stuck stress on the nervous system, just showing up differently as your child develops. All of those antibiotics for ear infections destroy the gut, while steroids and nebulizers amp up the nervous system stress even more. Now you have a child heading towards emotional dysregulation and behavioral challenges. So trying therapy without addressing the nervous system, it's like pushing a car with the parking brake on. You might see some movement, but you're working against a fundamental block. That's because the nervous system is the foundation. So if we skip that step, things won't be progressing as we want them to. Things won't heal as well. And we'll continue to see kiddos struggle and grow into these challenges later on in life because your baby doesn't need more labels or medications. They need their nervous system to shift from a stressed state to a balanced state. When we help release that stuck tension from birth, babies like Lennon transform from crying constantly to being content and happier. The earlier we address it, the faster they heal. That's the beauty of neuroplasticity in infants. Their ability to learn is so quick. You've tried everything else already. Now it's time to address the real cause. So click the link in our bio, comment below, or send us a DM to schedule your baby's neurological evaluation with us at Rising Health in Knoxville. Your child isn't broken, they're stuck, and we know exactly how to help them get unstuck. Hope, support, answers, that's what your family deserves. That's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.